It's sometime after midnight. You shift in your sleep, and your dog is still there, pressed against your legs, warm, breathing beside you like that's exactly where they're meant to be. Most people think it's just a habit, or warmth, or simple affection. But that's only part of the story. Because when a dog chooses to sleep next to you night after night, it's not always just about comfort. Sometimes it's trust, sometimes it's instinct, and sometimes it's your dog telling you in the clearest way they can that you are their safest place. But here's where it gets serious. When this sleeping pattern suddenly changes, it can be one of the earliest signs that something is wrong. So before you brush it off, watch this video. And if you love dogs and want to understand the science behind their behavior, subscribe to the Dog Talk. Let's get one thing straight. Most people think their dog sleeps in their bed for one of three reasons: warmth, habit, or because they're a little clingy. And here's the truth. Those answers aren't completely wrong. They're just missing the bigger picture entirely. Your dog is not running on autopilot when they choose your bed every single night. That decision is instinct-driven, ancient, and rooted in something that goes back tens of thousands of years. The warmth theory collapses the moment you realize dogs have been surviving cold nights on their own long before we ever offered them a pillow. And clingy? That word does a serious disservice to one of the most sophisticated bonding behaviors ever documented between two species. When your dog sleeps beside you, they are not being needy. They are being loyal in the most biological way possible. And to understand why, we need to go back. Way back. About 15,000 years ago, long before the first farms, before written language, a group of wolves made a choice. Instead of fleeing from human campsites, they moved closer, and the humans let them stay. Nobody planned it. It simply worked. For both sides. Those wolves that stayed close ate better and survived longer. And those humans gained something they didn't even know they needed. A presence in the dark. Something warm and alert beside them through the night. When the world outside was dangerous and the silence was heavy. They slept together. Not out of sentiment, out of survival. But somewhere along those thousands of years, something shifted. What started as mutual protection slowly became something harder to define. There are burial sites dating back 14,000 years where humans were laid to rest alongside their dogs. Not as tools, not as property, but as companions. Someone, 14,000 years ago, chose to keep a sick dog alive, nurse it through illness, and when it died, buried it close. That tells you everything about how deep this bond actually runs. Science has since confirmed what those ancient humans seemed to already know. Dogs developed unique genetic traits over millennia, specifically designed to pull them toward people. Toward eye contact, toward closeness, toward you. Not because they were trained to, because they evolved to. And that dog at the foot of your bed tonight? They are the living result of that entire journey. Every time they choose your side over an empty room, they are carrying something ancient with them. Something that was never really just about warmth. Here's what nobody in the dog world likes to admit. That warm, breathing presence beside you every night, it might be quietly costing you something. Sleep researchers at the Mayo Clinic tracked actual sleep quality in people who shared their bed with a dog. And what they found was striking. While participants reported feeling more secure and comfortable, the objective data told a different story. Every time their dog shifted, stretched, or changed position, even slightly, the owner experienced what scientists call a micro-awakening. A brief, almost invisible interruption in deep sleep that the person rarely even remembers in the morning. These micro-awakenings add up. Deep sleep is where your body repairs tissue, consolidates memory, and regulates stress hormones. Chip away at it night after night, and you wake up feeling foggy and worn down, with no idea why. But here's the twist. The same studies found that people didn't want to stop, because the psychological benefit of The safety, the lowered anxiety, the comfort of not sleeping alone was real enough to outweigh the physical cost for most owners. So is it worth it? That depends entirely on one thing most people never think to check, and that's where the real warning sign comes in. Pay close attention here, because this part could actually matter for your dog's health. If your dog suddenly stops sleeping in your bed, no gradual change, no obvious reason, most owners assume it's a new preference. Maybe they found a cooler spot. Maybe they just grew out of it. But that's rarely what's happening. Dogs are creatures of deep routine when it comes to sleep and proximity. A sudden withdrawal from a pattern they've maintained for months or years is one of the earliest behavioral indicators that something is physically wrong. It could be joint pain, making it difficult to jump up. It could be the early stages of canine cognitive dysfunction, similar to dementia, which affects an estimated 35% of dogs over 8 years old and almost always presents first as disrupted sleep. It could be internal discomfort they have no other way of telling you about. Your dog cannot say, "Something hurts," but they can stop doing the thing that causes pain. And if that thing was sleeping beside you every single night without fail, you will notice. The question is whether you recognize it for what it is. Don't brush it off. Book the vet visit. So let's bring this full circle. That dog pressed against your legs at midnight is not there by accident. They are there because evolution wrote it into their DNA. Because 15,000 years of shared survival taught their ancestors that closeness to a human meant safety, warmth, and a better chance of making it to morning. Because somewhere in their nervous system, your heartbeat is a signal that everything is okay. And you feel it too, even if you never had the science to explain it. There is something uniquely comforting about not sleeping alone. About knowing that the most loyal creature you will ever meet chose, out of every spot in your home, to be right next to you. That is not a small thing. That is the echo of an ancient bond that has survived ice ages, migrations, and millennia of change, and still shows up every night at the foot of your bed. So the next time your dog circles twice and settles in beside you, let them. Understand what that moment actually is. And if the night ever comes when they don't, pay attention. Because they've been paying attention to you all along. If this video made you see your dog a little differently, share it with someone who sleeps with theirs. Leave a comment below telling us exactly where your dog slept last night. We read every single one. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Dog Talk. New videos every week built on the science behind the dog you love.